Okay, Mrs. Greer, will you take the roll call to see if we have a quorum?
Greg Lazaro,
Present.
Dick Parada,
Present.
Tom Zicka,
Present.
Dave DeLuise,
Present.
Luke Farrar.
Present.
Let's all rise, say the pledge of allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Okay, last week I was asked, council member, Mr. Rizika, for a point of personal privilege. So, Mr. Rizika.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Supervisor. I'd like to make a recommendation that all the books of Seneca Falls be audited, forensic audit, on all departments, policies, and procedures.
Okay, that sounds like a good recommendation. Would you like to put that in as a motion? And we can
Yes,
discuss it.
I'd like to put that in a motion that the town of Seneca Falls puts a resolution by all books be audited by agency, all monies coming in. So I'd like to propose a resolution that,
Okay, the motion should read, the town of Seneca Falls will do a forensic audit
yes,
of the whole budget, the budget process, of all departments, of all monies coming in, of all expenditures, by an independent
absolutely.
agency. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Do I have discussion?
This isn't gonna hurt us, is it?
Harvey?
This won't hurt us anywhere.
Well, it'll cost money for us, but in the long run, I think it'll allay the fears of the constituents, and I think we'll see where we're at. This kind of audit, I don't believe has been done since we became a whole town in the dissolution process, after the dissolution process. So I think it's probably a good thing.
Yes, it just opens all the books.
Yeah.
Everything's open.
I mean, we just had the comptroller, so I didn't know, but I'm fine with it.
Yep. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Forster? Could you contact an independent agent? I guess Bonadio is the independent agent that we usually work with. I would have no problem with them. If you have further recommendations.
It's fine.
Okay. Would that need a bidding process, since it's a professional service?
It is a professional service. It may need that, but on the other hand, also may be able to do that without going through that if we have an interest in having it reviewed by another agency. So
Okay.
there may be a possibility.
Okay, thank you.
I'll know about it.
Okay. Following presentations tonight. Under D are Seneca Falls Police Department recognition. Mr. Menzo case from Generation Bank. Menzo.
Thank you, Supervisor. For 15 years, Generations Bank has supported DARE programs in the communities that they serve. In 2015, Generations Bank committed to a 5-year donation of $6,700 to purchase materials for all students in its footprint each year. Approximately 1,500 fifth graders benefit from the DARE program each year. In addition, Generations Bank, under the leadership of Menzo Case, has underwritten the cost for the annual New York State Dare Officers Association training, held one day in October for all dare officers across the state. This year will be the third year for this sponsorship. Further, Generations Bank is committed to the safety of the children in our community and has partnered with the Seneca Falls Police Department to ensure the Safe Child ID cards can still be a service provided by the police department team. Due to funding restrictions and grant restrictions, the new equipment needed could not be purchased. That until Generations Bank made the commitment to purchase the $6,500 of equipment so the service can continue. Without their investment, 700 to 800 children and families would not be able to have the Safe Child ID cards this year. The members of the Seneca Falls Police Department wish to personally thank Menzo Case, the Board of Directors, Jerry Graziano, Katie McIntyre, and all the employees of Generations Bank for making this happen, and for all that you do to help make our communities the best place they can be to live, work, and be a kid. Thank you, Menzo.
Appreciate it. I do have a few words I'd like to say if possible.
Go ahead.
First off, we want to thank the Seneca Falls Police Department for bringing us this initiative through our insurance agency. As a result, we have the police department receiving the equipment, and through cooperation with the SF Police Department, the Waterloo Police Department, and the Interlaken Police Department will also share the equipment or have the use of the equipment available to them at no cost, which I think is very important, except for the cards themselves. So those two areas will also benefit from that. And secondly, we'd like to just say this is what we do, and we really appreciate it. Our board of directors stands firmly behind the town as always, and we appreciate the service that the police department has for our children especially. It is making a difference, so one kid at a time. Hopefully we can get the message across. Lastly, I have to get the date for the Tall Cop presentation through cooperation with the Seneca Falls Police Department and with the Minder School, the Seneca Falls School District. We are presenting and underwriting and Senator Helming, underwriting the presentation by the Tall Cop, which is a presentation about the drug and hopefully get some drug awareness for both the students. And this year it'll include a separate presentation for the adults, both the teachers, children, but parents. And I think it's going to be an eye-opening experience. I've been through it myself, and it really is something to see what our children are up against and what they see on a regular basis, and how we can be more informed of all the things that are affecting them. It's going to be a big program, and I can't remember the date. September 27th. So there it is. So look for the school mailing. You'll see more information, and I think it's really important to get the word out. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Case, just one question.
Yes, sir.
Talked a little bit about shared services. Could you come up to the county and talk about shared services and how it's really done?
I would love to do
Okay.
something like that. If I'm invited, we'll certainly participate, but only from the standpoint of a sounding board.
Yeah.
We don't do politics, but we
Okay,
certainly are
okay.
a sounding board.
No,
Absolutely.
that's really good. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that like recently in the nonprofit world. Since you brought it up, Habitat for Humanity, Women on the March, Generations Bank, Senator Helming, and the Veterans Service. I just don't know what they're called. What do they call it, Katie?
I think it's the Veterans Home.
This Veterans Home. So we've collaborated, and we now have a home dedicated to a homeless female vet. And we're going to do some renovations. It's right up on Fall Street. It's called Honor's House, and I'm sure you remember Honor. It starts with a C, Callan. She donated her house to Habitat for Humanity with a life use back. She has since passed on, but her legacy will live on with the Honor House. And that's collaboration. It's taking several different organizations working together for one common cause, and we're really excited about that. And we're always looking for more sponsors. So if you'd like to be a participant, let us know, either personally, businessly, professional, volunteers. So, thank you so much, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jenko. Is going to present some on rehab of the stairway, iron railings, fence. He's going to make some recommendations here, a suggestion, and I hope we can move on it. It sounded real good when you were talking to us the other day.
Oh, thank you, Supervisor. My name is Chuck Janko. My wife and I moved here about a year and a half ago, and I'm a director at Bondnet Laboratories, and we've had the great fortune to purchase the Hubble House, one of Seneca Falls treasures on Cayuga Street. And as part of the continued restoration project of the house, we recently had some iron work done. And so I was learning about iron because I'm a little OCD, so I have to learn a lot about everything. I started looking around town at some of the iron work, and one of the other local treasures is the arch, the iron arch. And when we have guests and visitors that come through quite often, everybody looks at that arch, and everybody says the same view of that arch, which is, of the Seneca knitting mill across the street. It's just a beautiful treasure that we have. But as we start looking a little closer to it, the deterioration of the iron is not only is it wearing away to nothing, but it's becoming a hazard. Okay, I went over there a few times in preparation, and there's a lot of sharpness. There's a lot of looseness of the railing now, and it is really falling apart. And it's kind of a shame to see that happen. So, first thing my wife and I did was said, well, somebody should fix that. As a lot of people do. Well, who is somebody? So we thought about it, and we said, maybe that's something we should take on and bring to the attention of the town and the board, and see if we can come alongside of the town to take care of this. And so we did some research on it, and I had an expert come in and look at the project and kind of see what would be involved. And we talked to Supervisor Lazaro last week, brought it to his attention, and he asked we would come and share that, and we would like to be part of however we need to move forward on this project. So I'm coming here really to ask your recommendations of what steps do we have to take to see this happen.
I know when I walked the town last year with Mr. Spina, he had pointed that out, and he had said that's something we need to get fixed. It fell through the cracks, so to speak. I think that is an historic piece. I'm going to look for one of our audience members, and I hate to put you on the spot, Mr. Blair, but would that be something that would have to go through the historical committee? Do you know that?
To do what now?
Fixing this piece, since it's an historical piece, the fence there.
Is it in the historic
Yes.
district?
Yeah.
It's in the historic district?
Yes.
Then yes, it would have to
It
go
is.
for the commission, yeah.
It would have to go through that. So I think our first choice is I think it's a great idea. I think it needs to be done. People have mentioned it. Jim, you have mentioned, a lot of people say that. We'd have to get some costs written up. I think it's a no-brainer that it needs to be done. It has to be done. Those would be the first, that would be the first committee that you would go to, the Historical Preservation Committee. And so let's get you on the agenda for that, and we'll move that along. And I think we should try to move this along as quickly as possible, because I know, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to have in place by the year 2020, the year of the 100th anniversary of the woman's right to vote in the nation. Although New York State was, I think, they had the right to vote in 1960, I believe it was, but the federal law came into effect. The amendment to the Constitution came into effect in 1920. So that would be a wonderful piece to have done and completed for that year, that celebration. to showcase Seneca Falls. So your first step would be to go to that committee meeting. Nikki, when's the next committee meeting?
Fourth Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
You would have to have some kind of a diagram or something to show what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, we have that.
Do you have something?
We'd like to scope it out to see how far, we don't know how far the town owns versus the building that it hooks up to. So we don't know what, so we would like to find out some information on, because originally, Century 21 owned that, they own that property. I don't know how much the town owns now. So we have to scope out exactly what would be involved in the project.
Would you happen to, yeah, one second. Would you happen to know where the town owns?
I know, but I'll give Stephanie a look if you'd like me to
Okay.
work with Mr. Jenko through this. You'd be
Yes.
glad to do that.
Okay, why don't you trade phone numbers? We'll start that and put you on the agenda. How does it get on the agenda?
I'll put them on.
Okay, so you'll be on for the 4th. What time is that? Is
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock in this building, in this room.
Okay.
The 4th.
26th will be the fourth Tuesday.
Perfect. Thank you for your support. Yes, sir.
In the interest of not reinventing the wheel, in the city of Geneva, we had a similar archway that had been damaged when a truck went under it, made contact with it. A committee was formed for the Washington Street Cemetery entrance. That committee consisted of people on the Historical Preservation Committee. They were also able to find some grant money out of New York State to do something with that. So I can try to get whoever the contact person is for you from them, and perhaps they can give you some insight as to whether there are any funds available from a higher source that might assist you in the remediation of it.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
But there was a huge committee that basically got involved to do that. So,
Well, thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
for bringing it to our attention this year, put it back on, maybe this year we'll get it done. Thank you.
Okay, our petitioners, first one, Mr. Robert Miguel. I don't see him here tonight, so we'll move on to our second one. It's not tree planting in People's Park. I put it under petitioners. It's my agenda item. CSEA of the county approached me, and they wanted to plant a tree for Workers' Memorial Day, which falls on April 28th of each year. So they wanted to plant a tree someplace in the town of Seneca Falls. We came up with People's Park. Perhaps we could plant a tree there for a Workers' Memorial celebration. I believe that April 28th is a Saturday this year. And so if it's on a Saturday, it might be a day before or the week after sometime. It might even end up being on Saturday. But I was wondering if Jim, you and I, and Mr. Peterson could take a walk there, find an appropriate place for a tree to be planted. Again, I have to get permission from the board, so I'm going to put that in form of a resolution to have a tree planted in People's Park to celebrate Workers' Memorial Day on or around April 28th, 2018. That's a motion. I need a second on that.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, thank you. And we'll be working on that over the next few months to get an appropriate place, and then we'll put in the appropriate permits for the day
I
celebration.
think we can swing that.
Pardon
I
me?
think we can swing that.
Okay, thank you. Our third petitioner is Mr. Michael Ferrara he's going to speak about the community center.
No, I'm not going to speak about the community center, but I'm going to, first of all, thank you for allowing me on your agenda. Secondly, I want to thank all five of you for your dedication to the community of Seneca Falls. It's a thankless and tireless job. I appreciate that. Being in public education for many years, you become targets, and everything you do is scrutinized, so thank you for your service. I'm here tonight representing Seneca Falls Country Club. I'm not complaining, I'm just here to bring out some facts, and hopefully at some point we can come to some resolution moving forward. Seneca Falls Country Club, as most of you may know, has been a part of the community since 1925, and for most of those years it was a private club. It no longer can sustain that in this economic situation, so it's a semi-private club, and it's open to the public, and there's also members. Seneca Falls Country Club has been an active member in the community for many, many years. We co-sponsor charitable golf tournaments. We are contributing members to local school districts, local sports programs. We have a junior golf program. We do many contributions to our dedicated police officers and fire department and so forth. So we are an active member of this community. But like many other small businesses, it's a struggling business. Being in the golf course business and the food and beverage business is a very difficult thing when you talk about a very narrow window of opportunity based on upstate New York's climate. So we're a year-to-year operation. Just for an example, we pay $3,500 a year in water and sewer usage to the town of Seneca Falls. We pay over $2,600 in cable fees, which a town tax is assessed to that. And our property tax is $30,500 a year. So we are a major contributor to the Seneca Falls community and town of Seneca Falls operations. I'm here tonight only to ask that moving forward, we consider having the Seneca Falls Community Rec Center golf tournament at Seneca Falls Country Club, which is a taxpayer in Seneca Falls, versus having the tournament in the town of Waterloo. I am good friends with the owner of Silver Creek Golf Course. I respect what he's done, but I think the Seneca Falls Community Rec Center should have the golf tournament in Seneca Falls, supporting a Seneca Falls business. I am not putting blame on this group of people here or anybody else. This year I worked with a member of the Rec Commission. We had a date in the books. I told the person that we would match the price that you are paying at Silver Creek Golf Course. We were all set. We had a couple meetings scheduled. They got canceled. I finally called, and I was told that the committee has decided to keep the tournament at Silver Creek Golf Course. And I was quite confused. I spent many times on the phone with this person. The answer was that they had a bad experience at Seneca Falls Country Club 10 years ago. And I hesitated, and I said, okay, that was 10 years ago. I don't know what happened, but it's under new management, myself, and a board of directors. And I assured them that whatever problems you had 10 years ago, I would be quite confident that we wouldn't have those problems moving forward. So the tournament was at Silver Creek Golf Course again this year, which I understand completely. Again, I'm not being critical of anybody. I respect all the volunteer work that the Rec Commission does and the hard work they put in. And then, as I said, thank you for your service. I just ask moving forward that we could come to some resolution, hopefully that the Seneca Falls Recreation Commission Center has their golf tournament at a Seneca Falls establishment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for recommendations.
Right, can I speak to that though, just for clarification? Yeah. Do you mind? It is not a Rec Commission event, just so we know. I don't control it. It's a Seneca Falls Rec Booster Club. They're a 501c3 independent. I don't even have a vote. They are a separate group. They make the decisions. I don't. It's not a town. It's nothing I can control at all. I obviously have input from time to time with different things, but I don't on that. Like, just so you know.
I don't know, Jim. I don't. The person told me it was the commission decided to have it. So
I think you
misspoke.
Yeah, it's a Recreation Booster Club. They're a 501c3 corporation, which you don't control, I don't control. So Mike's being here is really a good way to get some, some media on that a little bit. And, the way to go then is go to the Booster Club when they have one of their meetings and discuss it with them directly as a group. I think that's the best way to do that. And I'll help you any way I can. You know that. I always support it. And I happen to agree with you, so. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. So
I will do that,
we'll
thank you.
move on from there. Thank you. Next petitioner is Allison Stokes, Reverend Stokes. I don't see her in the audience. I believe she's going to be late.
I know she plans to
Okay,
speak,
okay.
I saw somewhere.
Yeah, okay, if she, if she gets here before the end of the meeting, we will allow her to speak. And I guess I'll do the same for Robert McGill, because it is our first night of our 6 o'clock meetings, and people forgot. So I will give them the privilege of speaking when they get here. Thank you for bringing that up. Going on to approval of minutes from our regular meeting on August 1st, 2017. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for July meeting.
I'll second.
Second.
First, sorry.
Second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Is the door control officer here tonight? Okay, so we won't be asking for a motion to approve her report tonight. Zoning, I make a motion to approve the zoning officer's report.
Make the motion.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Make a motion to approve the Commissioner of Parks and Recreation report. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the Highway Superintendent's report. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to approve the highway the assessor's report.
I'll make the motion to accept the assessor's report.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion, well, the attorney for the town, do you have anything to say tonight?
I do
sir?
not. At this point, I will advise the board and the public that since coming on board one by one, I'm trying to meet with the various departments. There were several things that had to be done immediately. There were getting documents from prior council, getting files, and we're in the process of locating, getting everything transferred here, and I should have more for you the following month.
Thank you, sir. I make a motion to approve the town justice's report. I need a second.
Second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the water and sewer report.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the Seneca Falls Police Report for August 2017.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Supervisor, one quick.
Yes.
I just want to give a thank you. So on August 2nd, we held a National Night Out, which was a collaborative effort between all police agencies and the community. We had a very successful event. I wanted to specifically thank Liz Wachowski from the Council on Alcoholism. And I also wanted to thank Jim Spina and his staff for a huge help. We had that down at the community center. They helped us set up. cleanup, breakdown. They were a huge help in making this a success.
Chief, do you plan on doing something like that next year?
I do. Yeah, we had a great turnout for the first year, and I expect next year to be much bigger. It was a great event for all.
It's nice to see everyone out that night.
Yeah.
Kids really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm sorry I didn't make it for a water balloon, but I had to leave early.
That water balloon toss ended up in a major water balloon fight, but it was fun.
I had one water balloon thrown at me.
So,
Good thing there was a tree in the way.
did we vote on that? No.
No.
Discussion. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the report from Barton and Judas.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And are there any other committee reports? Communications. I make a motion to approve all communications listed in the agenda.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Old business. Sale of condominium and surplus real properties. Is there anything to report on, Mr. Forster?
Not this time.
Okay. Nothing, anything to report on write-off uncollectible receivables? And the Route 414 sewer line transfer from IDA to town.
Both items, I would note that we are awaiting the physical receipt of all prior files from council. I have spoken with Pat. That's in progress. We should have files. When I say files, so everyone understands, we're talking 15 years of files in cabinets that need to be moved. There's a lot there. So this is not just a question of dropping off a file. It's a question of physically transporting an awful lot. Pat is cooperating with that.
Okay, approval of, under new business, approval of special events.
There are two. Well, there's one from before, and then we had a new one today on my desk, which will bring to you. The first one is from the Seneca Falls Business Association for Oktoberfest. It's a Canal Side Family Seasonal Celebration for October 6th and 7th, Friday 6 to 10, Saturday 10 to 10. Again, it's being run by the Seneca Falls Business Association down along the back, along the Canal Promenade. And the only thing I would wait, the only thing pending is proper insurance submittal, which they usually will get done within a couple of weeks. So I know we talked about it at committee, so I'm recommending obviously approval of that. And I did submit the condition set that you asked about, so that's in there. It's on the extra form.
I make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I got a question. You got alcohol?
Again, working with Chief on that, some of the local wineries and craft breweries, I believe, correct, Chief?
Yes.
You can speak to it more than I can.
Yes, they'll
Yeah,
be
they're-
similar to Canal Days. There'll be a sectioned off area below the Common Street. Only will be permissible with alcohol.
Insurance or?
It will be. I mean, they're in the process of submitting.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Second one, I left on my desk today. I was away. Doug Avery sent me an email Friday, but I didn't get back in time this afternoon. For Seneca Falls Environmental Action Committee, environmental rally, marching from Kennedy Square to People's Park. with speeches in bandstand and gazebo on October 14th from 10 a.m. to noon. So that is here. It looks like it's properly submitted. And similar to ones they've done in the past, correct, Doug?
Yeah.
And I know, have you spoken with Chief yet?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the other one that's pending before you, however you decide to go for.
Okay. I make a motion to approve that rally.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I just saw Mrs. Stokes walk in, and we realized that this is our first meeting that started at 6 o'clock, and you probably forgot, so.
I didn't forget, I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know, so.
And you know what, I have a prepared statement. So
Okay.
instead of talking, since I wasn't,
You want to wait a few minutes? We could go through the agenda and we'll be fine.
okay, I'll go out and get more collected and come back.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to move that we table number B, renewal of Water Point Network Plan, until I get some more information on this. I think we all need more information on this, so I'm going to move to table that. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under Water and Sewer, purchase backflow preventer. Mr. Tulo?
This is the backflow preventer for the water in the wastewater treatment facility, and it's leaking and needed. And we opened up 2 bids at our water and sewer committee. And I believe the low bidder was, I think it was Blair Supply. They should have for about $1,500 and I don't know how to pay for it.
Blair Supply for $1,514.62. And this is
Put that in ourselves.
Pardon?
We'll install that ourselves.
It's a budget item under line item G 8130.206 for $1,514.62. And there's 12,000 in that budget right now.
So I make a motion to approve the purchase of a backflow preventer for a price of $1,514.62 from Blair Supply.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under Water and Sewer, extend temporary laborer position. You want to discuss that a bit?
Well, we had a temporary labor position was going to end October, about the first week. And we've been getting so much work done with this individual, and it's been freeing up others to do our projects that we need to do, getting our hydrants all reached, painted. They're not all painted yet, but they should be by the end of the year or close to it. And we plan on asking for a full-time appointment, but we had to get the budget, go through the budget process before we did that. So we're just asking for an extension to December 1st.
I make that motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Resignation, Assistant Recreation Director. I make a motion to accept the resignation of Randy Carrera as
second it.
Assistant Recreation Director. Motion made, properly second. Is there further discussion?
Just like to thank her for all her years of service that she did with us.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Princess Park pool repairs.
The next 2, Greg, we don't, we're having trouble getting, there's not a lot of people to do the pool repairs. We're having trouble getting enough. We still need some more time I'd like to table both of those to the October meeting. We still have time in October to do it. It might be a better time to do it anyways, like a little less busy maybe.
Since the motion hasn't been made, they'll be moved to the October meeting.
Thank you.
I don't have to go through procedural rules to do anything.
You do that. Hasn't been
Yeah. There's been a request for the invoice for summer staffing at the visitor center, $5,000 additional summer staffing, total requested $5,000. I make a motion to put $5,000 into the budget for additional staff, summer staffing.
I'll second that, but
It's already in the budget.
it's in the budget under line item A7989.408, $5,000.
I made the motion, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Highway purchase of tolls. Mr. Peterson, you want to?
Yes, Craig, I just want to make the board aware that we are out of the 95-gallon totes for the residents of the town, which would be the former village. I spoke to you myself, and it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get them in. And what we did is went with J&J equipment. 80 totes was $4,120, with approximate shipping was $867. The total bill was $4,987, which is a budgeted item. The reason we go with these people is because they've got the hot stamp, which means they stamp in Town of Seneca Falls onto that, plus they continue our serial number on those totes.
The only question I had,
Yes.
and it came up later after our discussions, whether that needed to be bid out. And I'm going to defer, and you might not know, Mr. Forster, who's thinking about that since you asked the question. Should we look into bidding that out?
Has it been bid in the past year?
No, it hasn't been bid in the past because we bought the stamp through this J&J equipment. So if we went with another company, we would have to rebuy the stamp and everything else. They hold our stamp, and that's why we go with the J&J equipment.
Is the total, this total amount is 4,900. What was the overall contract with them on a yearly basis? What is it?
There is no contract. We just buy these when we need totes, then we just we go ahead and buy them.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Judy, how many of the small ones do we have?
Quite a few.
That's
Probably
right.
350.
That's what I heard.
But we got them up for surplus. They surplus them 2 years ago. And nobody did it.
Is there any way we can utilize those instead of purchasing the larger ones?
Well,
Is
people,
there any people that, you know, would like to use the small ones instead of purchasing the 97? What's the size of those?
35.
Right.
35. And
Right.
a
So
lot,
even if need be, I mean, we could give them two if they needed them.
correct. And I've told the people that is called in for the ones that were damaged, we go ahead and we give them two, but they want the larger ones.
Yeah.
So when the new ones come in, then we're going to take the larger ones back.
What are
Take
we
the
gonna
larger
do with
ones,
all the little ones?
the little one, what's that?
What are we gonna do with all the little ones?
Well, we got them out for surplus. We were gonna keep about 100 of them, just so we had them on stock. Now Cardinal, the other thing is
They're
Cardinal
breaking,
breaks
right?
these, and I think, I talked with Nick this morning about it, and they pay for the ones that are broken, and I believe it's around $2,000 if I'm not mistaken. The Cardinal, Nicky hasn't sent it out yet, but that will go back towards that purchase of those boats.
None of these people want the smaller ones, they all want the big ones.
You get a handful of people who wants the smaller ones, but 98% of them want the larger boats.
This is a budget item under SR 8160-1403. There's 5,000 there.
It'd be nice if we could get the smaller ones incorporated, you know, if there was a way to try and get that
Can we sell
utilized.
them to somebody else?
For us, we use them ourselves. I mean, we've got a surplus of them, I mean, it's a good
Put
way to
them
go.
downtown?
Huh?
Want to put them downtown?
Why downtown?
Well, I'm just saying. If we have the bench, we can put them around.
They do.
We do
I-
that now.
I gave the rec center quite a few of them for the downtown area.
We got 30 of them or so.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, we use them for all the events, we can take them down and bring them back up. So small ones, some of them are used, but
Yeah,
I don't know how many total, so, but I know we use 30 or
it'd
so.
be nice if we get away from that.
Actually, the village ordered too many then, right?
Pardon me?
The village probably ordered too many, right?
Yes, well, most of the people wanted the larger totes compared to the smaller ones. So that's why we got so many of the smaller ones on hand.
Okay, so I'd like to make that motion that we purchase the totes. Motion made, seconded, discussion.
Well, one other thing, so that $4,000, 4,900, that's minus 2,000 we're gonna get back, right?
Right. Well, whatever.
We're gonna lay it out, but then they're gonna reimburse us for
Yeah.
what they damaged.
Yeah, but it depends on what figure
There
she.
is also some people who wanted a second one, so we will get some money back from them purchasing the second one.
Right, okay.
Okay. Pest control contract for municipal building. Chief, I was told you had information on this.
I do, I believe I'm pronouncing the company right. Yurlich, maybe? They do pest control for the community center, right, Jim? So when we reached out to them in reference to the carpenter bees in the building, they then got back to me about having a service contract. They lowered the price and they offered up a service contract of initial service $150 and then a maintenance service of $90 per month. And they take care of bees, wasps, ants, cockroaches, mice, rats, things of that nature. So I thought I'd bring it up to the board to see what they would like to do on that.
And I did talk to Bev about that. If we did do it, it'd become under line item A 1620.405, which there is money for.
I have a motion for that.
I'll make a motion that we
Second.
Motion properly seconded. Discussion.
Yeah. How many of these pests really have to be taken care of? Just one, or you really got all those problems there?
No, we have ants.
And spiders?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
This was brought to my attention. I thought I'd bring it up to the board. It's really not in my wheelhouse for pest control.
It's probably on an as-needed basis, so. We got rats in there.
Well, we'll do it this time, and when it comes up again, we'll find out how effective it was. Recommendation was made.
Got a question. Would it be possible to include the entire building under an umbrella contract instead of just?
This is
This
the entire municipal.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
all right,
The entire building, outside and inside.
all right, I'm with you on that.
Okay,
Nikki doesn't like spiders.
make a motion, it was seconded. Jim, you have something?
No, I just go back to the totes you never voted on. We had a second.
Yes, we did.
Oh, you did?
We did.
They passed, okay.
Jim, taking a little nap over there?
I must be, I guess.
No,
Okay, thank
okay.
you.
I have to ask the question whether we voted sometime, so. So, a motion to approve the pest control contract, seconded.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Purchase used motor for police vehicles, chief?
Yes, so we have a vehicle 855, which has a blown motor. And I got a proposal to put a used motor with 32,000 miles in it for a total cost of $2,636. To put a brand new motor in it was going to cost $4,600. So I thought that was a very good deal to put a used motor with 32,000 in it. The other proposal was a motor with 112,000 miles on it for $2,435. So it's almost a $2,000 savings by going for a used motor with 32,000 miles on it. But due to the cost and the procurement policy, this needs to go to the board vote.
And also that, talking with Bev on that, that's going to be coming under AS 120.412, which there's $11,539.96 in the police budget towards that.
Does someone want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we put the used motor with 32,000 miles in, is it 855?
Yes.
855 vehicle.
I have a second on that.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Chief, is that installed, correct?
It is installed, yes, that's complete.
Complete. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Motion to submit the standard workday and reporting resolution and documentation for elected and appointed officials of the town as instructed by the state retirement system. The persons involved in that, they're all elected officials. And we've done this at the county level. And people weren't able to explain it fully to me, but we have to pick some, each year we have to pick certain elected officials. Mr. Forster, do you have any further information on this?
The pension system requires that each itemized position have from time to time a standardization of their time, and they try to cover them all, but they rotate them. That's where this comes from.
Okay.
So when you report it, you tell them you don't have to punch a clock. You basically give them a fair amount of that actual time.
So for elected officials, the town clerk, the town justice, and the highway superintendent are on this. So I make a motion to submit the standard workday and reporting resolution and documentation for elected and appointed officials of the town as instructed by the state retirement system. The three people will be Nicoletta Greer, Sean Locuderi, and James Peterson.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I'm using the white agenda, not the yellow agenda. Okay, thank you. Under M, we're going to table that and have it in October. Well, we're not even tabling it. We'll put it off until October, move it to October. Let's do that. How far out do we have to set the date?
Just next meeting, next 30 days.
Okay, but from the date of setting it, do we have to give a 30-day notice or 10-day?
It'd be a 10-day notice.
10-day notice. Okay, we'll make that on next meeting. We'll discuss that at our next meeting. It's a local law pertaining to the town attorney policies and procedures.
Just put everything up.
Yeah.
Would that be just a resolution?
It's a resolution introducing a local law under the municipal home rule.
Okay.
So we're gonna do that next time.
Yes.
Okay.
So that puts them, the public hearing would have to go out to a month after that.
You have to talk more.
Just because, okay.
If you set the public hearing now, then you can take action on it at your next meeting. Otherwise, it's gonna be introduced in October, and you won't be able to hold,
Oh, November.
think, until
I thought it was 10 days out.
It is 10 days out, but you would still have to,
Give 30 days notice for the public hearing.
yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, I guess we'll set the local public hearing tonight then. I make a motion to set a public hearing introducing proposed local law and providing for public hearing on the eligibility of town, the residency requirements for town, eligibility for town offices. And this would have to do with town attorney. So I make a motion to have a date. Anyone has suggestions for dates?
So the next meeting,
That's the next.
The next meeting would be at the next meeting. Okay, so public hearing will start at 6 o'clock. Anyone interested can get a copy of that public hearing at the board office and read it over, and we look forward to hearing your comments at our next meeting. Okay, so the resolution for public hearing, what's our next meeting? What's the date?
October
Third,
3rd?
October 3rd.
October 3rd, starting at 6 o'clock. I have a second on that.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Under N, declare surplus for police vehicles.
Yes, Supervisor, I have two vehicles that need to be surplused and sold in auction. One is a 853, it's a 2013 Ford utility. It has just over 158,000 miles on it. And the other vehicle is a 2010 Ford Crown Vic with almost 126,000 miles on it. These vehicles have been replaced with prior new vehicles coming in, so we now need to surplus them. And I will sell them through Auctions International, and I ask that the money be placed into our vehicle and put in a surplus account once they're sold.
Is that the appropriate action to take on those vehicles? Okay. I make,
It's gonna be auctioned off, correct?
Through Auctions International.
That's fine.
I make a motion to declare the surplus to auction off the police vehicles.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Oh, okay. Any more? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to give a donation to Honor Home.
They didn't ask for a certain
Okay, and that's the Honor Home, the home that was donated to the homeless vet. So I make a motion to give a $1,000 donation to Honor Home.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the water and sewer credits.
I'll second it, $172.26.
Motion made and seconded, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Mrs. Stokes? Thank you.
I'm late, so you know my name. Allison Stokes, and I apologize, and I thank you for squeezing me in here.
No problem.
As many of you know, I'm a research scholar, and my PhD is in American Studies. And sometimes when I'm working on an issue and want to see things more clearly and make connections that are not otherwise obvious, I make a timeline to show the sequence of events. And I've done that with recent Seneca Falls happenings that concern me deeply. And I have made a one-year timeline that begins with the town board meeting held on September 6th, 2016, the day after Labor Day, and it continues to the day after Labor Day 2017. Listed here by date are facts, and only facts, no interpretation. For me, this 3-page timeline is clarifying, and I've made enough copies for everyone. I hope you'll want to take one. Seneca Meadows has paid big money to Dr. Kent Gardner for the research he's done for SMI and for his expert testimony. I'm offering the town the results of my labor free of charge. This timeline is long. I will only read the summary concluding facts. And then finally, I offer my brief 3-sentence conclusion. That conclusion is mine. I'm critical. I know that people in this room will not agree with me. It's difficult to be in opposition with fellow townspeople, but I do this from a place deep in my heart of concern for our town. In conclusion, fact 1, on May 5th, Town Councilman Tom Ruzicka physically accosted another town councilman, Dave DeLalis, at a restaurant in Seneca Falls.
Dr. Stokes, that's alleged. It has not gone to court. So, and I would rather you not speak about those incidents. It's an ongoing court case.
I understand that.
And it is alleged. And
Alleged. I'm reading only the facts that have been in the newspaper. This is an ongoing case, and
Excuse me. Yes, I understand this comes from your heart, but you have to use the right words.
I'm using the words from the newspaper.
You are well enough read.
Yes.
You're educated enough.
Yes.
To realize that the words in the newspaper were wrong, that was an alleged, until it goes to a court of law. It is alleged. Every crime is alleged. When you're arraigned, it is still alleged. And I have to caution you not to use those words, not to make a false statement here. When something like that comes up as that is clearly a false statement, I'm gonna gavel you to not make that statement, and I'm gonna correct you on that. And
All right,
that's what I'm doing.
I ask you to correct me then, because
Okay.
I've tried very carefully, as I say, I'm a scholar, I've researched this, and I've tried very carefully to use words that are simply factual. And,
Those were not factual. I will give you another 2 minutes to speak. because I
and that's
interrupt.
all it's gonna take. I've carefully timed this. Yes. 10 days later, Mr. DeLaylis brought a second-degree harassment charge against Mr. Ruzicka. Mr. Ruzicka now faces an already once-delayed court appearance on September 22nd, more than 2 weeks from now. Fact 2. On June 8th, in a telephone call to an unidentified New York State government office, presumably the DEC, town resident John C. Gary made a verbal threat against
Again, I'm going to say that an alleged verbal threat.
alleged verbal threat against Greg Lazaro and SMI Regional Manager Kyle Black. There was no public mention of this alleged verbal threat. But 17 days later, on June 25th, a headline in the Finger Lakes Times announced that people would need to pass through a metal detector to gain entry to the town board's July meeting. A full 2 months after Mr. Gary's alleged verbal threat.
I'm going to ask you to sit down. This is a hypothesis that's ridiculous, and I'm going to ask you to sit down.
This is a timeline of facts that gives a perspective.
No.
All right, that, I will
I'm
sit
going to
down,
ask you to
and
please
I
be
want
seated.
anyone.
There is no need to bring up those issues. Those issues are regulated by law enforcement agencies, law enforcement agencies, the district attorney's office. We have no control over those, and I think if you have an issue with them, you bring them up with the appropriate agencies.
I would like to read the last 3 sentences, then they're mine.
I'm gonna ask you to sit down.
All right, I will sit down, and I have a copy for anyone who wants to read the facts. Yes. You could pass those along.
We have no executive session scheduled for tonight. Is Mr. McGill here? Okay, Mr. McGill, you have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Oh, man, I was kind of hoping I'd miss it. I'm extremely tired and I'm probably going to make a mistake. But anyway, I'll try. I dropped off 2 copies of this article from the Competitive Enterprise Institute. It's about recycling versus landfilling. And it goes on to explain how Americans like to recycle, and it is indeed an important part of our integrated solid waste system. However, that some materials are, or some processes like recycling are not cost effective, not efficient, and not the most environmentally friendly. And it goes on to say that, however, sometimes politicians make the politically correct decision rather than the environmentally friendly decision and the most economic decision. Now, recently, China has put a ban on importing recyclables. They call them, one of them's called Green Fence and the other one's called Sword. They started out in 2013 sorting through recycled materials and rejecting it, sending the whole shipment back. They don't want contaminated waste, and that's what our recycling has ended up being. We sort out the recyclables that are more than likely going to be used and saleable in this country, and we send the rest to China. Well, they don't want it anymore. There's food waste. They found a syringe. One syringe rejected a whole shipload of plastic. It's not sorted properly, it's different colors. There's a lot of reasons why recycling is not cost effective. And China backing out of the recycling market has now caused, like one city in Texas, they used to get paid $1.80 a ton when they dropped off the recyclables. Now they have to pay $46 a ton to drop off the recyclables. There's just no market. The commodity market is flat. There's a number of other reasons why landfilling is more efficient, cost effective. There's issues with composting. One of the things they did is they studied utensils, eating utensils. They went to schools, hospitals, cafeterias, and they took samples of bacteria on regular flatware, reusable flatware, and they found like 410 different kinds of bacteria. And it was 34 different studies that they looked at. And they found 410 different kinds of bacteria on these eating utensils. And then when they looked at plastic, disposable, they found 2 types of bacteria. So there are a lot of issues that are not being discussed here, and possible health hazards with this recycling and composting, and nobody here has come up with a plan as to how to do it, where to do it, and how much it's going to cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGill. Chief, I have one question to ask you tonight. Because of some comments made that I put a stop to because I felt I needed to. But the alleged threat that was made on me and Mr. Kyle Black, when was I first informed of that alleged threat?
When the paperwork was submitted for the prosecution of that.
And what date was that?
I do not have that in front of me.
Okay, but
Sorry.
what was it in June? Was it in July? Was it in August?
I've got it at my desk.
I'm not sure exactly.
Okay, it was,
I
what
could not
days?
speak of the incident because it's an open investigation and we don't comment on it.
Okay, but I was informed like 2 or 3 days before we rained, which I believe was sometime in August. Okay, thank you, and I want to put that on the record. So, I make a motion to adjourn. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Mr.